is the Hammer Down Racing Report. And now your hosts, Scott Hammer and Ron Miller.
Welcome, race fans, to the Hammer Down Racing Report, part of the Evergreen Podcast Network, show number 333.
Woo!
Not quite 340 yet, but we're getting there. Show for Thursday, May 30th. Scott Hammer, Ron Miller, and John Young showed up here in the middle. Coming at you live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter from the Dominator Race Products Studio. Tonight on the show, I'm not really sure what's going to happen.
Could be interesting.
It could be. I'm not sure. There's been a lot of invites sent out. I've gotten a few confirmations, but we're going to try and have a dirt late model roundtable and kind of address the rising costs and things getting out of hand in dirt late model racing.
That's it.
I was supposed to.
We've been talking about it for a while, Scott.
Yeah.
And
this all came about because of a post that Ryan Unzicker had made.
Right.
Was about 2 weeks ago now.
Right. And we invited Ryan to.
I talked to Ryan. He
declined.
He politely declined because he has something in the works and he didn't really want to mess that up.
Yeah.
And
maybe the rant that he put on his social media
may have spurred something.
Yeah. Somebody might have said, "Hey, you need some help," and so that could go on.
But Ryan Markham, dirt late model racer Ryan Markham, Ryan Missler is scheduled to join us, as well as Rusty Schlenk in just a little bit. Chris Tilley may be stopping in as well from the
Ironman Racing Series.
Valvoline American Late Model Ironman
Racing Series.
It's a mouthful.
I'd hate
if
to
he
be
can,
hate to be an announcer with that.
Yeah, well, I know. Yeah, he had a lot going on. Brian Ruhlman was supposed to join us too, but he's racing tonight in Pittsburgh. But hopefully
sprint car.
I'm not even sure what he's racing.
Okay,
but you said he had some good ideas, so I hope you know what those ideas
I don't.
are.
I was hoping.
Well, maybe he'll call later.
I know we wanted to knock the spoilers down, but Brian's an engineer and a very great study of dirt late model racing, and we'll get him.
Okay. Hashtag DCR. Put that in the comments of our Facebook Live or the YouTube Live for a chance to win a custom designed car that's going to be in this new computer game coming out this fall. It's called Hammer Down Racing. Late models are modifieds. DCR Graphics is designing those. Charges $20, but if you win, you get this for free. So we have,
and please don't enter if you're not.
If you're not interested, let somebody who is into the game, like Ron's, probably not going to enter.
Probably not.
When was the last time you played a video game? And was it Pong?
Yep, it was Pong.
It was right. Last week you said Kong.
Yeah. Close enough.
Close enough. It rhymes.
Shut up, Scott.
Yeah. So we'll do that drawing at the end of the show, and you can choose to have a late model or modified. You don't have to have your own race car because he'll work with you, design one, or he can make it look like one. You know, whatever you want. That's what you get. And if you don't win, you can always have him do it for $20. I think he's going to be doing it for the next couple months as the window's still open to get the vehicles designed for that. So still time on that. Also, why are you here, by the way?
Well, I thought I'd be a nice guy and bring some donuts for everybody. My way of saying thank you to the professor for earlier this morning and getting the car.
Well,
you know,
he tried to challenge me and failed.
Did he?
Yep.
Well, let's see. This is how you get on the show. You bring us food.
That's it.
Yeah.
Scott.
What?
I like food.
Yes, I know.
If you notice where the box is at.
Yeah, it's over towards him. I understand. I get it.
He's on a seafood try it.
Oakshade Raceway, where the fastest meet to race. They got a full show coming up this weekend. Also coming up this summer, the UMP Dirt Car Summer Nationals. That's going to be July 13th. The 1,000 to win Papa Boiler Spectacular coming up for the Dominator Superstocks. That's September 14th. Dominator Superstock champion will get $1,000 this year, thanks in part to the Dairy Depot and Cafe in Morenci, Michigan. And, of course, racing every Saturday night through the end of September. Follow oakshaderaceway.com, or you can check them out Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and, yes, TikTok, apparently. Apparently there was a picture on there the other day, too, on TikTok, which I saw on Facebook.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
DCR Graphics is your vinyl racing graphics provider. They do full wraps, partial wraps, number decals, sponsor decals, decals of just about any kind. They have that special, as we just mentioned, about designing a car for the Hammer Down Dirt Track Racing game, which is not affiliated with the show. It just happens to be named the same thing.
Because it's a cool name.
I guess so. But for $20, you get your very own late model modified, designed, if you're a fan or a driver, either one, doesn't matter. Even if you're not a fan, you just like to play racing games on a computer, they'll still design one for you for $20. You can call or text Dale at DCR Graphics at 419-308-9523. Check them out at Facebook at facebook.com/DCR Graphics. And you can also get your official Hammer Down Racing Report window sticker from DCR Graphics for just $5. Make sure to show us the stickers on your race car, and you'll be part of the Hammer Down Army, and we'll report on your finish each and every week right here on the show. Did you submit yours? You did, didn't you? I think.
I believe so.
Yeah. And if you are part of the Hammer Down Army, a lot of people you got to go to hammerdownracingreport.com, click on Hammer Down Army, and at the bottom of that page, there's a link to submit your results. So that way, you don't have to search all over for everybody's results from go-karts to.
And chances are Scott won't search all over for everybody's results.
This is true. Yes. And please post them before 3 o'clock on Thursday so we can get it in the show notes. I also got to mention Dominator Race Products. They have what you need to be in the winner's circle. They have 30 years of experience to put you out front. They have their plastic color match late model rear spoilers, the ultimate body panels and hood scoops, radiator fan shrouds, hood pins, dashboards, and more. You can order direct from DominatorRaceProducts.com or give them a call, 419-923-6970. Dominator Race Products are also available from your local reputable race shops. Other sponsors, we've got to mention Dittman Motorsports, Ron Miller Race Cars, Freeze Frame Photos, Victory Fuel, the official drink of the Hammer Down Racing Report.
We love
Sorry,
that.
I didn't know you were coming. I didn't
That's
get
all
you.
right.
We love that stuff.
Yeah. And, of course, Magic Moment Entertainment, and unfortunately, the nobody's getting the $100 off. That last
darn.
opportunity was
Saturday.
unless I ran at I-96 and happened to win there tomorrow night.
That'd be cool.
It would, but I have a prior commitment to announce down at Limaland, so unfortunately I'm not going to be able to announce or race up there. So, yeah. So pretty much Ron or I are not going to win a feature this month. So before we begin our round table, how about we do our round up with some action from this past weekend?
Yeah.
Why is this not?
Racing Roundup.
I don't know if my mouse isn't working or what. I'm clicking things.
Just a little bit
things aren't
slow
happening,
today.
I guess, yeah. So Attica Raceway Park last Friday night, the Valvoline American Late Model Series there. Rusty Schlenk picking up the win in that. Cale Thomas picking up the win in the 410s. Dustin Stroop in the 305s. Limaland rained out last Friday. So they have yet to get a show in.
Scott,
Weather's looking good, though, for this weekend, I'm thinking. You got the weekend weather pit stop coming up later, right? Why do you look like a deer in headlights? Oh, my gosh. What?
You're spreading untruths. The first part of the week to Saturday looked wonderful.
What about Friday?
Friday, maybe.
Really?
Friday's okay.
I haven't seen a forecast.
Friday's fine.
Okay, that's what I thought. Toledo Speedway Friday night. David Milbran picked up the win in the Compact Touring Series. Austin Maynard in the Ohio Wheelman Series. And Royce Metapetigan in...
You got it!
Oh, my goodness.
What was that? Factory Stock? Or that Enduro 500 Series?
Was that Royce or Race? I'm pretty sure it's Race Metapetigan.
Hey, I just copied what Dave gave me.
I
Was it
see.
Race?
Pretty sure.
I think you're right,
R-A-Y-C-E.
There, I put a line on the O. Now it's Race.
Okay.
Oakshade Raceway Saturday night. Rusty Schlenk swept the Valvoline American Ironman Series events this past weekend, picking up the Barney Oldfield win. Adam Lance winning in the DCR Graphics Sportsman. Jake Rendell in the Dominator Superstock A main, and John Lonebarger in the Dominator Superstock B main with the victories. Fremont Speedway on Saturday. Zane DeVault, former guest of the show, they had the double features. He picked up both feature wins in the 410s. Jamie Miller and Paul Weaver each got a win in the 305s, and Jamie Miller and Dustin Keegan in the dirt trucks. And
it was a real interesting format, Scott. You know, I would hate to see it as a steady diet, but it was cool.
Then Monday at Fremont Speedway, Carson Macedo picked up the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series win in a very tumbly race. Tumbly night, I should say. It wasn't just a race. It was a lot lot of cars flipping. I was talking to Dean about that on Tuesday morning, I think it was.
Right.
Because I guess a lot of people were blaming the track, and I was like, I saw a lot of people making mistakes.
There was a bit of a cushion, and if you got up over the cushion,
that could
you
be
were probably going upside down.
Yeah, well, there's
but if you kept the car in bounds, you were going to be just fine.
Angola Motor Speedway on Saturday. Tony Dager picking up the win in the late models. Jordan Gatton in the mods. Parker Moyer in street stocks. And Chip Heinzelman picking up the win in the compact. Sandusky Speedway this past weekend. Bryant McCoy picking up the win in the Renegades. Clayton Carl in the Outlaw Super Late models. Brandon Huff in the CRS trucks. Bobby Justice in the pure stocks. And Brandon Bailey in the All-American Iron. Flat Rock Speedway. It was Justin Clarity. We're going to go with that. Yeah. Picking up the win in the Joy Fair 100 late model feature event, and Jeremy Vanderhoof picking up the street stock win. Bill Early in the figure eights. Butler Motor Speedway on Saturday was Chase Ridenauer in the 410s. Todd Sherman picking up the modified win, and Bronson Means in the street stocks. And Jason Wirt in the four cylinders there. Waynesfield on Sunday, that got rained out, unfortunately, yeah. He tried. He was waiting for that. And it poured on Sunday night. Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series last Thursday night. Ricky Thornton Jr. picking up the win at Lucas Oil Speedway. Friday night, Ricky Thornton Jr. picking up the win. And then Saturday was Davenport picking up the win in the Show Me 100, which was shortened from 100 laps to 80 due to incoming rain, of course. And World of Outlaw Case Construction Equipment Late Model Series action, the Ultimate Motorsports and RV Park on Friday night. Bobby Pierce and Ross Bales picking up prelim wins, and then Mother Nature picking up the main event win on Saturday with a rain out there. The Kubota High Limit Racing Series at Port Royal on Saturday, that got rained out. Sunday, though, Danny Dietrich picked up the $75,000 to win event there. Tuesday, it was Brett Marks at Grandview Speedway picking up the win. World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series action, the Extreme Showdown at Atomic Speedway. Friday night, it was David Gravel. And then Saturday, Sheldon Hodenshield picking up the win there. Arkham Menard Series Friday at Charlotte Motor Speedway, General Tire 150. Tanner Day picking up the win. Also Friday, Nick Sanchez picking up the win in the NASCAR Truck Series, former guest on the show. Xfinity Series on, Saturday? Chase Elliott picking up the win at Charlotte Cup Series then. Sunday night, Coca-Cola 600. Christopher Bell was declared the winner when they called the race due to rain with 151 laps to go. Right as Kyle Larson arrived.
Just when Kyle Larson was suited,
Indy.
he was suited up, ready to climb in.
Yeah,
and they pulled the plug.
Speaking of that, he got there late because the IndyCar, the Indy 500 was delayed, 3 hours, I believe, due to rain. But they got that in. Pretty exciting finish there. Some lead changes. Joseph Newgarden picking up the win, and he became the first back-to-back winner in 22 years. And we'll talk about how much he made later on in the show.
Big money.
Yeah, a little more than I've made in the 2000s, maybe. I don't know.
Just a couple bucks.
Yeah. And other notes here, your Hammer Down Army Racing results. Karen Van Pelt picked up a second-place finish in the box stock lights. John Young finished 14th in the A-Main, the Dominator Superstock A-Main at Oakshade. Kurt Dickey finished 4th in the B-Main there at Oakshade and for the Dominator Superstocks, and I finished 6th in the A-Main in the Dominator Superstocks.
Bad pill draw?
No, I started the outside of the front row and just went backwards.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Scott.
Car did not work. It did. I missed the setup. It wasn't
Same here. I started right behind him.
You better yell at the crew chief.
Yeah. All right. Well, it looks like Ryan Missler is there, but it says device not connected. So I'm not sure what's going on with Ryan. We do have the other Ryan. Ryan Markham is connected. So I guess we can start out with him. I might have to shoot a reminder to Rusty Schlenk to join us here in a bit. Oh, come on. Of course, I'm not going to be logged into Facebook on this. So let's bring in at least one of our guests here, Mr. Ryan Markham. How's it going?
Oh, real good.
Good.
Hey, Ryan.
How you doing, Ryan?
I'm good.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Let me get rid of this thing so we can make things a little bit bigger here. Let's talk dirt late model racing. But I guess since you're the only
there
one,
we go.
Now I see Ryan Missler popping up. We'll bring him in here too. But Ryan Markham, let's since you're the only one I think that hasn't been on the show that we're going to have on other than Chris Tilley. Give us a little background on your dirt late model racing career.
My career?
Yeah.
Well, that dates back to about 1991. I got started, had a 1986 race car with a aluminum headed motor and just got into it, and it was kind of a learning experience. I had a WRC car, which was Rodney Combs and Mark Richards built that thing back in the day, and it had a 3-link suspension on the rear, and so I run that car for a year, and then ended up getting hooked up with Keith Berner from AccuForce, and
That was before he was AccuForce, wasn't it?
oh yeah, he was just everyday racer, and so he kind of took me under his wing, and I bought a couple race cars off of him, Masterbuilts back in the day, and that's what got me going. And then, I've been under his wing for 33 years actually. Keith kind of steered me along, and I'd say got me going pretty good,
Okay. So you've been racing for you got a few years of experience under your belt.
Yeah, I've been racing longer than most kids we race with have been alive,
Hey, be careful now.
Yeah.
So Ryan Missler, he's the youngster, right?
I guess so.
I guess. So I guess let's start out by and Ron, you've driven late model. When did you start driving dirt late models?
Early on Oakshade. No, I had been transferred to the Albany, New York area, and I ran big block modifieds over there. So when I came back home, take care of some family businesses, went out to Oakshade, and man, it was like a throwback to the 60s, and it was just a good time. And as the late models and limited lates evolved, I evolved with them. So I guess I've been running late models at Oakshade since probably 84, 85.
So a few years there.
Yeah.
So I guess let's start off by addressing what is the biggest cost associated with dirt late model racing today, and we'll
let me preface that we started talking. Shut up, Scott. We started talking a couple of weeks ago how every week at any local track, there's a handful of cars at least that are $150,000 race cars. That's not counting the toter and all the spares and everything that goes along with it. And the tracks, due to the economy, haven't been able to increase the purses the way that the exponential growth of the expenses in late models have. So we decided that we should have kind of a round table and discuss it. And you guys are a couple of the prominent racers who can shed some light on what your thoughts are. Now, Ryan, Mr. Missler.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. I'm not all too young. I turned 40 this year, but
Oh, no.
well, compared to Ron and I, you're young.
Right.
It's all relative.
no, I definitely, costs have gone up. When anytime a class or division is evolving, shocks, technology, gains in engine departments, gains in chassis, development, all that stuff plays into it, right? But I think that the biggest factor, and you can't really fault, the late model division for it, is everybody wants to go faster, right? And there's always the biggest pocketbook is going to pay for, whatever there is available. And I think the biggest factor with everything going on is not really anything to do with racing. I think it's based on its economy and inflation. That's what I think the biggest problem is. You know, Mark Richards shared something from 2004. He shared his price list. I don't know if you guys saw that on Facebook or Twitter. I think it was on Twitter that he shared it. But from 2004, a Rocket Roller was $16,000, 16.5, something like that. A Rocket Roller today is 45,000, roughly, depending on what you get. But that's like 2.5 times, 3 times. You know, why did they're not welding the cars together any different? You know, there's more tubes in there, but what made that go from 16.5 to $45,000 for the same product? Now, yeah, there's some shock advances in there, but this ain't even including shocks on the car. For a roller, you get over $50,000 to get shocks on the car built by Rocket. So that's where I'm at. I don't know. What do you guys think?
What do you think, Ryan Markham?
Well, I have a catalog in my race shop. Like say, it was 16,100 in 2001 for a car, and in 2000 I bought a brand new car, 16,000, and a brand new engine. I paid 17,900 for it. Had a guy helping me out with some stuff, but we were on the track, and I won a lot of races in the early 2000s. Like I won 9 races one year, 11, 13, in 2000, 2001, 2002. So I had at that time, like I say, the best engine and the best car. And, we were really successful on the racetrack. And then as time went on, it's just, I don't even have that kind of money in the cars I have now. With, like you say, the way things took off, a couple years ago, I was buying used tires from World of Outlaw team. And then all of a sudden the big tire change went, and tires went from $130 to $230. But like I say, I don't have the caliber equipment that I had 20 years ago. And it shows on the racetrack, but there comes a point where, if you're going to show up, you have to be able to get there, so it is what it is.
So let me ask you guys, what do you guys think is the biggest discrepancies when it comes to equipment between some of the top tier teams, the Lucas Oil guys or the World of Outlaw guys, and the weekly guys at your local track? What's the biggest discrepancies there, or disparities, I should say?
Well, first thing happened is all the Lucas guys and World of Outlaw guys started getting engineers involved in their stuff, and people just were a lot smarter and realized how to make these cars faster. And that's what kind of separated the regional guys, I believe, from the local guys and the traveling professionals. They've just advanced their program so much more, and shock technology and cars and all that stuff has kind of gotten to the point where, those guys are just, and that's what, the whole start of this thing was Unzinger's post that, us regional guys can't even hardly line up and race with them guys, but on the same token, they need us at these races because nobody's going to show up to watch 12 cars.
Exactly.
So they need us there, but yeah, Ryan, you jump in and give your thoughts.
Yeah, right. Ryan, weren't you you just competed with the World of Outlaws, was it a week or two ago?
Yeah, we went to Raceway 7. It was my first race, other than the rain out at Attica, which really wasn't a race. But so, yeah, I went there. Them boys raced 40 times before I got there. They've raced a ton this year already. So that's part of it, too, is those guys have the money. They put new tires on every time they hit the track. They got fresh engines. They got 4, 5, 6 engines. So they can, if you have 5 engines in the tank, you can twist your your engine 9,000 RPM in qualifying. Okay, I'm not going to do that, and I'm not going to put on, brand new tires every time I hit the track, but those guys do. And since they have the funds to do that, the top tier teams have the funds to do that, they can go race as much as they can, and we can't afford to go race as much as we can, so it's just, I think you're seeing just a separation of the national series is separating themselves from the local and regional late model racers. And I think it's just happening because it's happening. It's probably,
and like Ryan said, the traveling series definitely need the weekly racers, the regional racers.
Sure. But think about this. I wasn't alive back then, but I can imagine NASCAR back 20 years before I was born. How many guys showed up to try and race a NASCAR race and qualify for a NASCAR race?
More than their starting positions for, I do believe.
Yeah.
Well, way back then they start like 60 or 70.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Huge fields.
Yeah.
But they had to do that because of attrition.
Oh.
But fast forward till today and you see where NASCAR is. I think that's the way, I think that's the route that's happening right now. I think dirt late model racing's in its prime heyday nationally, and they're separating themselves from the local late model racing.
One of my opinions is that the two major touring series tend to yield to the needs or desires of their racers. It's kind of a case where the inmates are running the asylum. The touring series can't afford to send the guys home. And if it's put to them, hey, this is going to be legal or we're gone, the rules keep evolving a lot faster than they should. Bob Memmer, quite honestly, would roll over in his grave if he saw where dirt late model racing is today. Ryan, I'm sure you can agree to that.
Yeah. Well, I remember racing UMP back in the day, and he wanted to keep the cars narrow, aerodynamics out of the picture, And the first time I ever went to Eldora, there was 273 cars there. They don't even come close to getting 120 now.
Right.
Show up to go to them races. But back in the day, everybody, if you had a car, you could be competitive, and they've just taken the sport. And so let's back up a little bit. So the last time it was a Lucas Oil race at Attica, I said to Rick Schwally, Rick, you're going to have to do something to start corralling this situation we're in. He's like, what are you talking about, man? Racing's good, Well, to them it's good, but it's just, I was talking to my wife earlier, Laura, and she's like, we're too far gone to go back and fix this. And she may be right, but I'm hoping that there's some things we can do. I mean, there's some suggestions that I have that I think that we could do to these race cars. Like Ray Cook come out a few years ago and implemented this droop rule, try to get the cars back down in the race. Well, he needs to go to that, in my opinion, and take 6 inches off that.
Take 10 inches off of it.
10 inches. Get these cars. I watched a race from 1996, Brownstown, and these cars were flat, and these guys are 3 wide running all over the racetrack. You don't see that now. Like if the track's got some moisture in it, everybody's wide open, cars all tilted up, and just like slot cars going around the racetrack. So in my opinion, they need to take traction out of the race cars to where you could get to a point where you don't need 900 horsepower. If you can only get 700 horsepower on the ground, well, then you build 700 horsepower. 700 horsepower is going to last a lot longer than 900 horsepower.
Right. You guys are both very tech savvy. My opinion is that today's dirt late models are giving up mechanical grip strictly in favor of aero. There's a lot of changes that could be made in suspension to enhance the handling if the cars were back in the Bob Memmer era.
Yeah. Well, like
Um,
you say, we have shock behind the left rear axle tube now, which all that does is the more the car rolls over, the more mechanical traction you put into the car.
right.
Uh, but I remember there was at the PRI show probably 10 years ago, there was a meeting between the Lucas guys and the World of Outlaw guys. And I remember specifically standing up, like, they don't want us regional guys to catch up with them, because when they go to a race, they race for a living. They don't want to race with us.
They don't want you on the same plane. Absolutely.
Right. So I remember 2006, I went to Sharon for a World of Outlaw race, and I ran 5th, started 17th, come out of the B main. And then I went to Wayne County, my local track, and we ran 5th there. Like within 2 weeks, I ran 2 top 5 World of Outlaw races. And the cars were, consistently even with those guys. And that's just, we're not on that playing field no more. I'm not, Ryan, like I say, he had some first time out, and Raceway 7's not the raciest place in the world anymore. But, it's just like you say, it's just, we have to kind of lower our standards to go race with them guys. Like, hey, we want to, try to run maybe top 10, but, to go run with them guys and say, hey, we're going to run a top 5, or that's a stretch.
Ryan Missler, what do you think about the droop roll? Do you think limiting that even more would help things out?
I mean, maybe. It probably wouldn't hurt anything. It could only help, I would say. But it might help us. If you can get some air underneath the car, unlike now they're all sucked down on the track. For sure, aero plays a part. Now, even at Attica, and you get in, tucked in behind somebody, enter a corner, they take the air off your nose and you push up, you slide up, it messes everything up. So that would help probably the engine situation, unhook the cars. But I don't know if they're ever going to do that.
No, the series is not going to slow them guys down to let us catch up with them. There's just, yeah.
So let's before I want to kind of get your some more ideas that you guys may have as far as possible solutions and how, I mean, even if it's not likely to happen, but let's kind of talk about the purses at local tracks versus some of the traveling series purses. Is what can be done there? Is there anything that can be done there? I mean, is that something you guys look at when you decide where you're going to go race? Is where can I make the most money, but also at the same time, who am I going to be racing against?
Or are the regional series like the Ironman series, is that where the local racers are going to wind up and just not have late models at every show every week?
So my opinion there is you're going to continue to see racers get out of racing because they can't afford it. You're going to see local tracks go under because they can't afford to raise their purses, and cars are going to, if you don't have cars, you can't have a racetrack. So you're going to see, I think you're going to see like what happened to Lakeville, what happened to, I mean, this is before me, but McCutcheonville, Bryan, the tracks have gone under. You're going to see a couple of the bottom tracks, that really aren't putting any more money into their facility. They're not changing anything. They're not promoting like you used to back in the day, promote a racetrack. You're going to see the stale tracks go under, and you're going to see racers not be able to afford to race anymore because you just can't keep up with what you got to do to compete. That's what I see.
What do you think, Mr. Markham?
Well, that's, when you talk about trying to go make more money, I've come to the conclusion that I need to figure out how I can race what costs less for me to race, because there's nowhere you're going to go to make more money. 20 years ago, I won 30 races in 3 years at Wayne County Speedway, and they paid $1,200 to win. Then they went to a point where they dropped down to $1,000 to win. So, when I first started going to races, I bought a pit pass for $12. Now they're $35 everywhere, sometimes $40 for a regular show. The racetracks, and it's not the racetrack. I mean, insurance costs money, their light bill costs, it just costs them more to operate. So I don't know how you can sit there, unless you're like Port Royal or some of these big tracks that have big sponsorship and so forth. But they just can't come out and just keep raising their purse, because they don't bring in enough money to do it. The streaming deal has come along. I don't know. I think it's really helping the big traveling series, but I don't know that it's helping the everyday Saturday or Friday night, Saturday night racetrack. I mean, Attica, the last couple of years, you go there on a regular night, and I mean, like, you look around, it's like, man, there's nobody in the stands. So, like I say, I don't know that we can make more money. We need to figure out ways that we can spend less money to race, is what I think we need to do.
Okay, yeah. So it's not a matter of taking in more money, although that would be nice, but to try and cut the costs, and that's where I think you guys are in agreement where the major issue lies.
I had some engine trouble a few weeks ago and was kind of on the market looking around, and it's like I just come to the conclusion that I can't do what I want to do. Engines 3-4 years ago, you could buy a wide bore engine for $25,000. Now you're not going to touch one for $35,000. And why did it go up $10,000 in just a few years span? Parts becoming, but and I talked to an engine builder the other day, and he said that some of these major teams, what they're doing, they're using multiple engine builders because one engine builder can't satisfy their needs. Like Clemens, I mean, Davenport, he's got Clemens engines and Cornet engines because one or the other can't provide him enough to keep him going, so you're seeing some of that in the aspect. And like I say, they just keep building more and more horsepower, and you can see the amount of engine failures that's happening. 900 horsepower is not sustainable. And so it's just one of them deals where, I think you need to get the race cars to where you can only get 750 horsepower to the ground. And then, 750 horsepower, you could run that engine a lot longer than 900 horsepower.
Absolutely.
And that brings us, I guess, now. So how can we get there? I mean, what can we do at this point? Can we do anything to try and level the playing field as far as costs go? Get it so that the 750 horsepower deal is, works. What are your ideas on that?
Well, first off, we need to not let any shocks be behind the axle tube. You put the shocks back in front of the axle tube. Like the old Rayburn cars, when he had the swing arm cars, everybody in the Midwest had, and I think Ron some of his proven cars might have been swing arm stuff at
Absolutely.
one point, and they were kind of per se a generic car, but everybody was on them, and just everybody was racing, and but like I say, I mean, you'd have to get the World of Outlaws and Lucas and all them guys to say, hey, we got to go backwards in time to make this work. Like I say, you take traction out of the race car, and now you don't need as much horsepower, but that's going to slow everybody down. But, those guys, they all have engineers, and they figure out ways to just keep getting faster and faster and kind of jumping ahead. Back, like I say, 20 years ago when I was buying the same stuff everybody else was right from Rocket. I have the same stuff. We all have the same cars, and we go race. Now you have so many different people out there that specialize, in helping out racers, and it's definitely like there's guys that are getting on these programs and picking their stuff up, so it's all technology and but technology costs money.
And there's shock builders around every corner.
What about going to something like the NASCAR Cup Series has gone to, where everything is spec, everything's the same?
Scott, if you look at a Longhorn or a Rocket or a Black Diamond, there's only a quarter of an inch here or there on all the chassis mounts.
I'm just saying
everything
that's being one supplier for everything, for all the part, one shock.
I'm a believer in capitalism, where people need to be in business to make money. But like I say, I just think there's, tires, and like the whole tire situation. Hoosier come out and they corralled the whole system. Say, hey, we're going to build 3 tires. Well, obviously, them tires aren't what we need, because that 2 will not. You can't hardly run a feature in a 2. You put a 3 on, they're not really a tire that you can run multiple times. So they kind of got us screwed there. What really proved that to me was Hoosier come out with the 3 compound tire, 2, 3, and a 4. And so then there's some tracks in Pennsylvania that says, hey, we're not going along with this. So they let people run American racers. Well, next thing you know, Hoosier comes out with another tire compound. Oh, a 2.25. Well, that's the tire compound that should be our 2, but they won't put it in there because then the 2s will last longer and you won't have to buy as many tires. So like I say, the whole tire games, they got us screwed there. It is what it is, but they need to make a tire that we can run at least a feature with it, not tear it up.
How would you feel about opening up the tire rules? Say any $225 tire.
Well, American racers I could buy for $180.
Absolutely.
And that's because, and Hoosier damn near had them out of business 2 years ago. American Racer kind of just quit making tires because they went in and bought every track, everywhere you go. So Hoosier only, because they're giving money and they're giving it to their point funds and whatnot. But like you say, if you don't have competition, then they can charge whatever they want to charge to do, So, yeah, I'm a firm believer in competition.
Back in the mid 80s, when I was servicing a lot of tracks with tires, the pavement late models had a tire rule that said any $90 tire, and it had a tread width limitation. Yeah. Would that help racing, or would it mean that you guys would have to have a trailer load full of two brands now?
Well, I kind of like when they went. We used to have 3, 6s, 11s, 15s, 21s, 20, 35s, 45s, 55s, 70s. I mean, they had too many compounds at one time. But like I say, good 3 or 4 compounds is good.
Yeah.
Ryan, what about Ryan Missler? You had mentioned the aerodynamic issue, being at Attica. What is there anything that can be done there? What would you suggest about that?
With the aero? Yeah.
How could we bring that so these cars are less aero dependent?
Man, I don't know. MD3, 5-star, they're big sponsors of the big series. Okay. So they'd have to create new noses.
No, they wouldn't. They've still got molds that were great 10 years ago. Just dig one of those out.
I feel you. I understand. I agree with you. But, why does Ford, GM, Toyota, why do they change their car designs every year? They're not going to, the same style car would be sufficient for you to drive from A to B every day, but they come out with the new stuff, and then they make you want to buy the new stuff. So they don't want to go back to the old stuff, but they could. I think we're it's easy to complain and talk about this, but I don't I don't think we're getting anywhere. I don't have a, I don't think anybody has a solution that says, we do this, racing gets better. Everybody's going to get back into racing. I think the big series has a good product. I think, and they are not going to change their product because they believe that they have a good product. So
what would have to happen? Do you think for something to change? Would it be lack of cars that show up for those big events, or?
Well, yeah, it would have to hurt their wallet.
Okay.
However, that would be.
There you go.
For them to change. Follow the money.
And that seems to be the bottom line with what everybody is saying here. You got the big corporations where they have their hands kind of in things, and it seems to be all about making
like
money.
Ryan Markham said, a lot of tracks have closed, and even the tracks that are still running weekly late models are not getting the car counts they did 5-6 years ago. So it's not going to be long before those touring series no longer has that pool of cars to fill their fields. Like Ryan said, they're not going to show up with 12 cars and call that a program.
Well, they may not have a choice at some point.
What you're going to see is, if a track wants to survive and they don't just throw their arms up in the air and say they're going to close the doors. If they want to survive, what you're probably going to see is, and tracks are doing it. They're going to run late models once a month or something instead of every week. That's what I foresee happening.
Bring in the Ironman series once a month, and modifieds are your headline division.
Yeah, because the modifieds, they're not as aero dependent. If you want to race where a engine won't hook up as good, you run a mod. Ryan, you run a mod, and I've only run a mod one time, but I run a street stock a couple times last year, and those things aren't very aero dependent. But yeah, I don't know. I think you're just going to continue to see a separation, between the big late model teams and the late model national product because of streaming. I think a lot of it comes back to the streaming too, where they'll say, well, late model racing's good. We have full fields on these national tours. We have all these people watching the stream. Well, all these people are subscribing to the streaming service. They're not going to the local track because they can stay home and they can watch Lucas Oil. They can stay home and they can watch Royal Outlaw. They don't have to go and support the weekly racer. So it's the National Touring Series. Their product is better than ever. The revenues coming in for everybody that's involved in that is better than ever. But it's the con of that is somebody's got to lose, and I think the local tracks, the local racers are losing.
Do you think the casual fan, do you think they care at all about any of this, or even understand or know any of this is going on? The discrepancies between the big teams and the regional teams?
Scott, I think that the casual fans just realized that the car counts aren't what they were a few years ago, but they don't understand why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the casual fan that shows up at the track a couple times a year, they have no idea.
So back in 2015, 2016, Wayne County was trying to get the crate late models brought in there, and they were going to pay the same purse, like $1,000 to win. And, you could buy an engine back then for like $6,500. So I bought a car trying to get in there and trying to help them get this series going. Well, I was buying pump gas, putting it in the car, and I had 6 tires and ran half a season on them 6 tires. I was showing up at Wayne County with pump gas in the car, cost me $20, and I'd race every night, and I would average, $450 to $700 a night with that crate car. But then all of a sudden they said, hey, you can't run pump gas no more. You have to run 110 octane. Well, that stuff's $10 a gallon versus $2.50 a gallon, and then they just started implementing all these different rules like that was just killing the whole purpose of the class, and it's like, so I just said, that's it, I'm done here. I mean, you can have a $6,000 shock package on the car and you have to run $10 gas, and just, like I say, I got out of that deal. So, some of the traveling crate stuff is getting out of hand as well,
So who has the power, I guess, and I've kind of asked you this before, who has the power to actually facilitate the change? Is it the local tracks? Is it the series to change the rules? Who can actually make something happen?
I think the local tracks, Scott, and Ryan's,
right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the local tracks need to contact World Racing Group and let them know that they're in trouble. They need to talk to Lucas Oil, let them know that they're in trouble. And that's the only way that these sanctions are going to understand that their 12 cars can't put on a show.
But will they listen?
I don't know. But they have to start somewhere.
Go ahead, Ryan.
One thing I was thinking was, so what they call them super late models out, well, maybe they just call us late models, and we could, run under more of a limited type package to run our local racing, but that's going to separate us from being able to go to some of them bigger shows. But, I'm almost to a point where I don't really go to many of them shows anyway. I haven't been to a Lucas show in 2.5 years and an Outlaw show in probably 4 or 5 years, because it's kind of disheartening as a racer when you go and you say you have to drop your expectations down to like, okay, I want to make the race tonight. That's not what I want to run well, I mean, I know I'm not going to win a World of Outlaw race, but I don't want to go there and run 22nd.
You don't want to be the field filler.
Right. Yeah. But, we're also competitive, and it's like, I see there's an off night coming up, and it's like there is a World of Outlaw race at Sharon. It's like, well, do I the racer in me is like, yeah, I want to go, but sometimes you're like, I don't know if I should go to that or not, So,
what do you think, Ryan? Other Ryan, sorry. Do you think the tracks, local tracks, are the ones that need to kind of stand up and change things?
Well, how many late model tracks are under the UMP ban?
Well, at least most of them in Ohio.
Yeah.
Right. Quite a few in Michigan.
Did Atomic ever get under the UMP banner? I know they were working on it, and I don't know if they ever did.
I don't know.
So that's what, the tracks would have to all get together. It's easier, I would say, for these promoters to get together and coordinate together and say something rather than racers. You try to get racers together to get together to get that track to raise the start money $50 or something, and you'll boycott the race for a night, but everybody else goes up, even though you talked about it. So I don't think racers were gonna stick together, or do we have time to get together? I run a business. The tracks. Most of them guys do that. They do that as their income. So I would think that the tracks would get together, but I'm not sure.
Maybe we need another Bob Memmer.
Yeah, reinvent. Yeah, because dirt late model racing, when he came on the scene, were wedge cars with huge sideboards, and they were
early
just crazy
80s,
Charlie Schwartz stuff,
Yeah.
And he came in and tamed them down, and it really made dirt late models a common name.
Let me throw out this idea at you guys, because I was watching the Flow Racing Night in America race at Macon, which was just a little 5th mile track. And, that kind of takes away some of the bigger motors and all that. And, I mean, it turned out to be a crash fest, but it was Is that something, maybe track size, that could play a difference? If there were smaller tracks, would that be an equalizer?
But definitely is an equalizer. It helps, you know. You definitely can't go to Eldora. And, you know, it would help to be on a little quarter-mile track for sure.
I-96 used to be a Yodeland track, and they shortened theirs. Hartford Speedway used to be, they said it was a half mile, but it was closer to 5/8, and they shortened theirs, and the racing improved, but they still lost cars. I don't know. Garrett Wiles, one of our fairly regular listeners, was saying that the AR-56, American Racer Tire, it's a hockey puck. It's hard. It's probably harder than a 30, but a lot of the Michigan tracks require that, the ones that are not UMP or dirt car affiliates. He said that he's won $3,300 off of the same set of tires, and they've never even flipped them. So do you think that for the weekly tracks, a hard tire rule will work? Jump on, guys.
Well, at Wayne County years ago, you had to run a 40 or a 55 on the right rear.
Right.
No, Atomic was that way. Like you had to run a hard tire on the right rear, and you know, I don't mind it, you know, because yeah, I kind of like a hard tire myself. You don't have to mess around with them as much.
Yeah, so if you would go to a hard tire, you just gotta have a track that's checking tires.
The track that what?
A track that's checking tires. That's
I gotcha.
Checking for guys doping. You know, other than that, yeah, it would make sense.
Gotcha. Ron always dopes his tires. That's what I've heard.
No.
Well,
only for Sandusky.
I think we've pretty much hashed most of this out. Do you guys have any final thoughts on this you'd like to share? We'll start with you, Mr. Markham.
Like I said, I've been doing this for 33 or 34 years, and my wife asked me the other day, she goes, "Do you want to get t-shirts?" I said, "Yeah, we better get t-shirts, because I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to do this, you know." But you know, it's something that I just love. I love the competitive aspect of it, working on cars and building stuff. And I just wish that we could figure out a way to make it more affordable for the local racer. You know, like I say, we just can't keep, you know, like I say, Mark Richards used the number of $125,000 for a car. You know, I don't have a quarter of that in my whole operation, you know, so, but, yeah, I don't know. You know, maybe if the economy turns around, and I don't really know why it cost $11,000 for a frame today when you could buy one for $3,000. You know, Ron, you build car. I mean,
yes, sir. And
much.
they're building it. It's the same materials.
Yeah.
The same welding.
Yeah. So, but I remember Mark Richards, you know, this has probably been 15 years ago, like when the cars were $20,000, 22, he's like, these cars just need to cost more, because they wanted to make a bigger profit margin, you know. And then, like I say, once somebody starts winning in something, you know, it doesn't, if that car brand's $10,000 more, that's what people are going to go, because that's what's winning, you know.
It's the Longhorn effect.
Yeah.
It's what you always used to say about how much money.
Speed costs money.
Yeah,
how fast do you want to go?
That's it. So, have you? Are you considering cutting out late model racing, or that's not something you've even thought about yet? You're still going to race your late model?
Well, I'm fortunate. I have a modified that I drive at Wayne County every week, and you know, all I do is show up, and I have, you know, Stan Twerg. He's the one that works on the car, brings it, and I just, you know, lucky enough to just jump in and drive. You know, sometimes that's, you know, I mean, I don't know. It just, I'm competitive, and I like working in my shop and doing stuff, and But there's going to come a point where you just simply can't just keep digging deeper and deeper in debt. I mean, sometimes you got to draw a line of like, what am I going to spend? And then it is what it is, Maybe race, whatever.
What about you, Ryan Missler? Any
You're
final
a
thoughts?
working guy. How hard do these expenses hit you?
So I was going to say, and I had it written down here to talk about, back in 2017, I decided that I was going to, put myself out there and start a YouTube channel. Well, start recording our race nights and a little bit in the shop and put it on Facebook and put it on YouTube. And if I wouldn't have done that, it took a couple years to get off the ground, and a lot of criticism and a lot of not giving a shit by me and everybody else on video of what people thought. But that's the only reason financially why I'm still racing. If I wouldn't have done that, we wouldn't be racing today.
Wow. So it's that supporting you? I mean, is that going to keep you going for the next few years then?
It's not necessarily the what.
Not supporting you per se, but a little bit of additional income that helped you out, I'm sure.
Yeah, so it's not just that, it was the exposure that it brought.
Okay.
So, our sponsors that we have today came on board because we had a YouTube channel and we put ourselves out there. And in return, that's where the majority of our sponsors come from. And I do not in the off season, we run a machine shop here and that's our number one. I don't, maybe I should hire a marketing person, but I don't knock on doors. I don't call anybody. The sponsors that we have gotten a hold of me and wanted to be on board. So yeah,
it's nice when they come knocking at your door.
Yeah. It helps, because I've sent emails out years ago. I remember sending out 50 emails to 50 different product sponsors, and I heard back from one, led them along a little bit, but I didn't get anything out of it, So maybe email wasn't the way to go back then. I don't know, but I know it's a lot of work and a lot of time that I don't have to put into it. So like I said, if I didn't do the YouTube thing, and also to get everybody that helps, work on the darn thing, I wouldn't be doing it. But financially wise, if we didn't have the YouTube thing going, I for sure would have been probably hung her up by now.
Have you given any consideration to running a modified or a street stock or something?
Scaling back
like Ron did at this, or you committed to the late model?
I'm committed to the late model. I ran, like I said, a street stock a couple times last year, just for fun. And
that's
and
right. I forgot.
It was fun. I ran a Jimmy Humphreys modified at Muskegum at the end of last year, and the track was cowboy up. It was a different experience, but that was fun too. It was cold, but I don't have any modified background. I know they're similar to a late model, but nowhere. I'd have to travel a little bit to go run a mod, up where we're at. There's no mods around, but
or a dirt truck.
Or a dirt truck, I got into racing because I wanted to have fun. That was my biggest thing. I'm competitive, but I wanted to go have some fun racing. I thought it was the first day I had a go-kart. It was a blast. And racing seems these days, Ryan, you can probably attest to this. Racing seems like it's more stressful than fun anymore. And the only time that I have fun is if I'm winning. Because of the work involved, the money involved. It's, you might as well just throw stacks of $100 bills out the window because you ain't getting it back. It's the financially stressful, the workload stressful. Yeah.
Well, I know. So somebody made a comment 2 weeks ago at the racetrack. They're like, we don't get paid to race. We pay to race. And when I heard that, I'm like, you're absolutely right. I mean, we're the ones putting all the money up to race, and there's no way we're going to win the amount of money we have invested. And so the guy was absolutely right about, we're the ones paying to race. But, and I think one thing too, I've been at this for a long time, and, we used to race on Saturday night, and we'd stop at the ranch, leave in Wayne County, get a pitcher of beer and a big old pizza, and half the racers would be there. But then as time went on, it becomes more stressful, and people are it's not as fun as it used to be, for the simple fact that I think a lot of the racers can't just have fun. It's competitive, and I've kind of lost, I wouldn't say lost friends, but I mean, I had some friendships that, we'd go do stuff. Well, then, they get competitive, and it's like, well, dude, we're at this to have fun. We're not at this to, we can go out there and race. At the end of the night, we put our helmet in the trailer, and you got to change your attitude, and hey, let's go have a beer now, and I think some of that is kind of went by the wayside, because it's so expensive, and people are trying so hard to make a few dollars at it, where before, everybody just had more fun, and
you could afford it.
Yeah, you could afford it. Now it's stressful, because, man, if I don't run here tonight, man, how am I going to get a couple tires for next week? So
Can't afford that pizza either.
Yeah, yeah. It used to be $25. Now it's $60.
Oh man. Anything else?
Just in closing, I think the one thing that the sanctioning bodies need to look at is getting rid of all of the aero issues. And had Brian Ruhlman been with us tonight, he has some thoughts on that to get rid of some of the aero. Scott, the first time I experienced aero was 1995. We decided to run the dirt late model at Syracuse. I had run it with the modifieds a couple of times and had a good time. So we took the late model there, and I came back after the first hot lap set, and the rear deck was all crumbled down. And Ornery Don said, "What the hell did you do to my race car?" At 160 miles an hour, the nose sealed a little tighter to the track. The back of the car was wide open. And even though it wasn't 6 feet in the air, it generated enough suction underneath to crumble the deck. And today's cars have taken that just exponentially forward.
And in today's cars, too, they've even compared to when you ran that, they're all cattywampus.
They're wedge nose.
They're not a straight car
the
anymore.
right side takes a hard turn.
Yeah.
It's yelled out big time.
So I think the sanctioning bodies need to take a long, hard look at aero, which will take the motor factor out. Ryan Markham, you discussed that.
I think what I've gotten out of this
I'd love to see harder tires. I don't think it'll happen.
It all comes down to who's got the money.
I think,
and I think when the money runs out, that's when eyes may open up. That's what I'm getting out of it.
I think they need to get rid of the aero.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we definitely appreciate you sharing your thoughts with us tonight and being on here. We appreciate it very much.
Any final thoughts, Ryan Markham, Ryan Missler?
One last thing.
Of course.
I'm going to build a track out back here, and we're going to race Crown Vics for fun.
There we go.
That'll be fun again.
I'm in, buddy.
No doubt.
Are you providing the Crown Vics, or are we got to bring our own?
Yeah. No, I got them all. I don't have any right now, but it's a thought. Everything begins with a thought.
There you go.
I'll make the tow over there.
Absolutely.
You put that on your YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah. Buddy.
What about you, Ryan Markham? Would you climb in a Crown Vic and race in Missler's backyard?
Oh yeah, and that's kind of what, maybe that's what we need to get, is some $300 or $400 cars and just go out and have fun, and then, like I say, go get a pizza afterwards. That's
Big D's would probably supply them.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I know our blood pressure would probably be a little lower.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. I don't know. Somebody would get too competitive.
You wouldn't see those $100 bills flying out the window.
Yeah, what would we be racing for? What's first place pay?
Trophy.
Big D's Pizza.
Trophy and pizza. I like it. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. We got to move on here, but again, thank you so much for taking the time to be on with us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yep.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you.
Yep.
There you go. Ryan Markham, Ryan Missler, taking part in
Probably a good thing we didn't have Ryan Unzicker.
Why? Oh, that would have been that'd be the Ryan show. Yeah, Rusty must have forgot. He was supposed to be on. He hasn't got my message. He answered me late last night and said, "Yeah, I'm sure I probably could join." And anyways, yeah. So very interesting conversation there. I guess the next step then is to is for the tracks. It seems to get together and for any change to start, you're going to need people to come together.
It has to start somewhere, and like we said early on, the local tracks are what makes the touring series able to race.
Coming up, we'll be giving away some Big D's Pizza. Speaking of that, with how many. Also, don't forget to put hashtag DCR if you haven't done so in the comments if you would like a custom-designed computer game, late model or modified, for the upcoming Hammer Down Dirt Late Model Racing game. Or Hammer Down, what the heck's the name of it? Hammer Down Racing, we're going to call it that.
That's it.
I don't think it has an official title yet, but that's the working title. That game's due to come out in November, just before Christmas, too. And we'll probably be giving away some copies of that. So if you want a custom-designed car, hashtag DCR. DCR Graphics doing some of the design work for that game. Pretty cool stuff. Got to mention Victory Fuel, refreshing and natural hydration alternative that replenishes electrolytes. It's packed with vitamins, providing a boost for athletes, talk show people,
Scott,
and individuals on the
mine's
go.
empty, Scott.
There's more down on top of the fridge.
There was just a little swallow left. I guess I'm okay.
I guess grape's coming right now. They got lemon and throttle punch. I always forget what that's called. It's like a fruit punch, which is pretty good.
Lucky Lemon.
You got lucky. I always give you the lucky lemon.
That's right.
That's the one I have less of, so I'm keeping you supplied there. Victory Fuel is a perfect way to stay hydrated and energized throughout race day, being free of added coloring, caffeine, or carbonation. It's a great kid-friendly drink.
It is.
And you can get yours online today at drinkvictory.com. And when you order it online, you can use discount code DOMINATION or Conley Racing, all one word. And you'll save 10%, and you also help fuel their respective racing programs. And some stores are carrying it. A lot of tracks, racetracks are carrying it. I think it's going to be at all the Ohio Speed Week events.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And Victory Lane, all the winners of the A-Mains get a drink, so that's pretty cool. Dittman Motorsports, the official Hoosier racing tire dealer for Northwest Ohio. If you need any kind of race car service, bodies, parts, whatever, you can call Dittman Motorsports today at 419-283-8580. Also, they're the official parts supplier at Oakshade and I think at Fremont, too.
At Fremont.
Yeah.
The official track supplier for the
Parts
truck
supplier.
division.
Oh, just the truck division?
Yeah, the sprint cars are handled by someone else.
Okay.
And I won't mention any names because they don't contribute to the show.
Okay. Well, I'm sure if a sprint car driver came to Dittman Motorsports for, say, a tear-off or something,
Absolutely.
they would not turn them away and say, nope,
You
sorry.
bet.
If you need a professional wedding DJ, then give Magic Moment Entertainment a call. They're currently booking weddings for this year, next year, and 2026. Ron Burt's the winner of many national awards for his work, including being inducted into the DJ and Wedding DJ Hall of Fames. That's 2 Hall of Fames. During his 30 years in business, he strives to make every wedding reception perfect. He works with couples from the day your contract is signed until the very last dance of the night. Doesn't charge for wedding ceremonies if they're held the same day in the same venue where he works, your reception. Magic Moment Entertainment carries liability insurance, provides dance floor lighting at no cost to you. He never charges for mileage, and he covers the entire states of Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, and Kentucky. And unfortunately, Ron Miller or Scott Hammer did not win a main in the month of May, so you don't get the $100 off. You might be able, if you mention the Hammer Down Racing Report, he may take $100. That's unsanctioned.
Yeah.
You can try it. I don't know if it's going to work, but
It can't hurt.
yeah. Call Magic Moment today at 419-594-2261, or you can find Magic Moment Entertainment on Facebook. Or you can find him. He's actually
And Ron
runs the
did
Ohio
confirm that
Sports
he would
Blitz.
consider going to Australia if
That's true.
one of our Aussie listeners
There may be a charge for mileage for that, though.
could be.
Yeah. Got a little bit of racing news to bust out here before we get to tonight's Hotline. We actually have a couple texts, too, for the Hammer Down Hotline to get to.
Latest racing news.
Stuart Haas Racing. You hear about this?
Yeah, I did, yeah. And it really affects one of my good friends. Jerry Cook is the car chief on the Stuart Haas number 10.
I thought he worked for ThorSport.
No, sir.
Oh.
No, sir.
So if you haven't heard, Stuart Haas Racing, a 4-car team with 2 NASCAR Cup Series championships, will shut down at the conclusion of 2024. After the season, I should say. They released a statement on Tuesday. Gene Haas and Tony Stewart did. The news leaves unclear futures for Briscoe, as well as his teammates Noah Gragson, Josh Berry, and Ryan Preece.
Yeah. Jerry is the car chief on Noah Gregson's car.
And Silly Season saying that Briscoe might be going to the 21 car, replacing Harrison Burton.
That's a rumor that has absolutely no substance as of yet.
I have heard the rumor that
I don't like rumors. We don't do rumors.
That Junior is considering buying
one of the charters.
Two of the charters.
Two of the charters. Okay. Federated Auto Parts Dirt Car Nationals will be bigger than ever in 2025. That's what kicks off the season down in Florida. They're gonna have the addition of the American Sprint Car Series, expanding the Dirt Car Nationals to 3 weeks. The ASCS will now kick off the event at Volusia Speedway Park on January 30th, 2025. So we mentioned the Indy 500 winner earlier, and this is some of the money these guys got at the Indy 500. Joseph Newgarden winning. He got a check for $4.288 million.
That's just shy of $5 million. Whew.
Well, it's a
chump change.
Okay. Total purse was 18. Hold on, let me count. Okay, it was only 18 million. I wasn't sure if we were in the billions. 18,456,000. That's the total purse for everyone in the Indianapolis 500. The average payout throughout the entire field was $543,000. Wow. Newgarden's earnings included a $440,000 rollover bonus from Borg Warner. That comes from winning back-to-back Indy 500s. $20,000 is added to the pot each year, but it had only been claimed once prior when Elio Castroneves won back in 2001 and 2002. Right. Yep. Second place finisher Pat O'Ward was in the lead until the final 2 corners. However, his second place run still brought in a check for $50,500. Kyle Larson has been crowned with the Rookie of the Race award. That award comes with a $50,000 bonus, bringing his total race earnings to, where did he finish, like 14th, I think?
18th, I think.
Was it 18th?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for his 18th, he got $178,000.
Oh.
Those cars are more expensive to run, too.
Yeah, but he didn't spend anything.
It's true. Eldora, some sad news here. Eldora Speedway General Manager Jerry Gapins Jr. died on Tuesday this year at the age of 63, apparently from complications from surgery.
Wow. That's
all the information on that. And one last little tidbit here. I just saw Charlie Krull sent out a press release today. R.J. Cornett, 18-year-old R.J. Cornett, will jump behind. I didn't realize he's only 18.
Yeah.
He's only 18?
Just a baby.
I thought he was older than that. He's going to jump behind the wheel of a 350 Outlaw Super Modified Series car for this weekend's Flat Rock Grand Prix.
Yep, I heard that.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. He drove the dirt trucks for a season or two.
Right.
He's been running a late model up at Flat Rock this year. Well, it was last year too, wasn't it?
Yes, last year too. Yeah.
So pretty cool.
Last year was his rookie season.
Yeah, that's it for racing news. Before we get to our Hammer Down Hotline and tonight's How Many, a chance to win a Big D's Pizza. I got to mention Freeze Frame Photos. Contact them for all your racing photo needs from Action Shots of Victory Lane. They do custom print magnets, canned koozies, tumblers, and other gift items. You can get a 4x6 photo at the track, wherever they're at, wherever they bring their photos, for just $1. They do the kids photo giveaway, kids night, at Oakshade Raceway every single night. $50 to sponsor that, and that gets the first 50 kids in the door or in the gates get a free 4x6 photo of your choice. Call Charlie, 419-407-6994. Again, that's a newer number. I think that number changed in March. So if you have a number from before March, make sure to write down 419-407-6994. Freeze frame photos, special moments frozen in time. And finally, Ron Miller Race Cars.
Yay.
He fixes, apparently, your car.
Door bars and main bars. And
Broken stuff.
Yep, broken stuff.
He stays in business because you keep breaking stuff.
Well, job security for him.
Race cars, parts, safety equipment, anything a racer needs, you can get that from Ron Miller, 734-856-7223. And now a couple of texts, and they're kind of, I don't know.
From the Hammer Down Hotline?
From the Hammer Down Hotline, yeah. If you want to leave a message or send us a text, feel free to do so anytime, 419-318-3081. We like to hear what's on your mind. And this week, so we got a couple of them here. The first one, let's see, is the lack of track preparation for your second biggest race of the year is unacceptable. Shame on you, Oakshade. You've got to do better. Track was a little dusty on Saturday night. It did get better as the night progressed, but
I wasn't there, so
yeah. Were you at Fremont?
I was
on Saturday. How was Fremont's track? Was it dusty at all?
You know, the sprint cars had a little dust, but that was because they're throwing up a lot of debris. Yeah. The track really wasn't too bad.
I think things. I'm not making excuses for anyone, but I think that the weather may have kind of caught them by surprise.
Last week was tough. You know,
supposed to rain Saturday morning.
They were talking about rain Friday, Saturday. It didn't happen.
And then it was dry and windy in the sun.
I'm sure they had the track sealed up.
Yeah.
For the rain, and then we had brilliant sun and wind. So, yeah.
And that made for a little bit scary, dusty hot laps for the late models. Like I said, as the night wore on and they poured more water on the track, things did get a little bit better there. And then this one, Steve Kinzer said it best, the easiest way around Fremont Speedway is on the bypass. And I think that on the bypass.
Oh, okay.
I think that's a reference to Monday night's World of Outlaw show there. Yeah. A lot of folks had some... a
lot of guys upside down.
A lot of torn up equipment there. But
I think, Scott, I watched it on TV. I wasn't there.
I did too.
But it looked to me as though most of those were just a driver error, jumping the cushion, and the outside of the cushion had a lot of moisture in it. You get the right rear over the cushion, and that tire hooks up, and you're going for a ride.
Who was it? Rice, I think his last name was. Somebody had a comment about it in here. He had that. He had actually was going down the front stretch and clipped the rear tire with his front from another car, which kind of threw his car sideways, and then his back tire hit that tire, which turned it even further around. Then he went flying and took a wild ride. They had some video from the infield, which was pretty incredible footage there that he walked away from that. It was pretty crazy stuff there. But, yeah, so there you go. There is your Hammer Down Hotline text. Couldn't figure out how to get rid of that. Now, how about we give away some pizza?
How many?
I'm just going to do it since you guys didn't say anything. Okay. So last week's How Many was how many American late model Ironman Series cars were going to be at Attica on Friday, plus the number of them at Oakshade on Saturday. That would be 30 at Attica, 39 at Oakshade, for a total of, can you do the math? 69. Ron, you said 65.
I did.
I won up to you because I figured it'd be more. I figured it'd be more than that. But
actually, you won the week before. I think you said 66, and I said, I'm going one under.
Well, I still said 66, and so I upped you. Whatever.
Yeah.
So, yay me on that. Our listeners, we actually had a tie.
Really?
2 listeners actually picked 69, and we're going to have to spin the Big D's Pizza wheel. And it's kind of funny who we're spinning the wheel for because they're a couple brothers. As a matter of fact.
Really? It's a family thing?
It's a family thing, and one of them happens to own a certain pizza place that we're giving away the pizza from. There. So here we go. Yeah, I think my mouse is broken or something here. So Don Henry and Dean Henry both picked 69, and here we go. They can fight it out between them.
This will be good.
Yeah. Oh, who's it going to be?
Right
Don Henry gets it. So, Dean, you owe Don Henry a pizza from Big D's Pizza. Congratulations, Don, for winning this week's How Many. So, moving forward for the How Many for next week, put this back up there. How many, because Butler Speedway this weekend, is it the Thomas Mace Memorial? Is that what that is this weekend? The Mace Thomas Classic.
Okay.
Is this weekend. That's going to be the Kubota High Limit Series.
Ooh, yeah.
It's going to be up there. The only Michigan appearance for that sprint car series. How many drivers are going to be up there competing in that event? In the 410s, just the sprint cars at Butler.
Y'all get to go first,
Saturday.
Scott.
I didn't type this one in, so you're just going to have to bear with me here. That, How many 410s at Butler on Saturday? That is
for the High Limit Series.
Yep, that's this week's How Many. And I didn't do any homework on this and look and see how many they've had recently.
So you're going to have to wing it.
Yeah, I am. I'm trying to think how many they've had just on a regular show with the 410s up there, and I can't even think of that.
In the 20s.
That's what I thought. I'm going to go with 38.
Okay, is this the time for the hammer down
Are you
weather
stalling?
pit stop?
No. Here, I'll stall for you. If you'd like a chance to win a Big D's Pizza, go ahead and put your guess in the comments of our Facebook Live or the YouTube Live. You have until, we'll say, 4 o'clock on Saturday. So if you're listening to us on the podcast, not live, you can come back to the video and put your guess on that on Facebook or on YouTube.
And your guess was what?
And you can only guess once. If you change your guess, you're black flagged. And if we have a tie, we spin the Big D's Pizza Wheel. I guess 38. I seem to be on the high side. Although Scott Warner says 43.
I'm
Swander says 0. Oh man, I forgot about the weekend weather pit
going
stop.
one under you, Scott.
I'm being optimistic.
You know, the farther north you go on Saturday, the better the weather is going to be.
We'll get to that weekend weather pit stop. All right. And since you're here, you want to throw a guess?
I don't
Mr.
want to
John
see
Young?
too many people throwing a 0 in there because there's a good chance that it'll happen.
I'm going to go under you. I'm going to give you your favorite number. I'm going to say 35.
Ooh, thank you.
So there you go. You have until 4 o'clock to put your guess in. 4 o'clock on Saturday, that is, this Saturday, which is June 1st.
It is.
Crazy. So, yeah, and whoever is closest will get a Big D's Pizza. Doesn't matter if you're under, over, or whatever. It's just whoever is closest. So let's check out our Big D's Pizza racing menu for
This weekend, Big D's Pizza racing menu.
So my plans for tomorrow night include the Keyser Memorial at Lima Land.
Really?
Jerry had asked me to
You're
help
going
him
to
out.
go watch?
I'm going to go help Jerry announce so he can go race, Jerry Keyser.
Ooh.
He's going to be running in the Dirt Track Truck Series. Thunder Stocks, UMP Modifieds, and Great Lakes Traditional Sprints all in action, and that will be their season opener, too, because they have not gotten a show in yet. Gates open at 5, racing at 7:30. General admission $12. That's at Lima Land Motorsports Park tomorrow. Attica Raceway Park, it's the Burns Electric Metal Master Fabrication Vermeer All Roads Mid-Season Championship night. And that also is double points. And that's going to be AFCS 410 sprints, 4,000 to win. Late models, 2,000 to win. AFCS 305 sprints, 1.2 thousand, 1,200, 1,200 to win. However you want to say it. Gates open at 5, racing at 7:45 at Attica Raceway Park. And then I-96, I wanted to pass this along, but I forgot to put this in my prep, so I'm trying to look this up. Dave Kemmer posted it on our page the other night.
It's a stock car spectacular.
Friday night.
Bring your track
They
rules.
just
bring your
It's
track
a
rules.
2-barrel versus 4-barrel race.
No, you can't. You're way over there. Yeah, Street Stock Challenge, 2-barrel versus 4-barrel, and 800 to win. That's tomorrow night. Home track rules. I ran in that last year. It was a pretty fun deal. First time I've been to I-96. It was a little rough. That's right, you were there.
Yep, it was fast.
A little rough getting there. But
Yeah.
Bring your rule book and make sure you're
home track rules to bring your home track rules to prove you are legal and you can race.
Be legal.
Who else? The Great Lakes Super Sprints will be there, as well as the IMCA Modifieds, Pro Stocks, and Mini Wedges. So, and they reconfigure?
That's tomorrow night.
That's tomorrow night at I-96. Did they reconfigure that track? I thought they were going to, but I didn't know if they did.
I think it's about the same as what you ran last year.
Okay.
It used to be much bigger than that.
Bigger than last year? Wow. That was a big track.
I thought they were going down to a 3/8 mile.
Yeah, that's what I thought I had heard, but I didn't know if that actually happened. Saturday, here you got some more choices. Lorraine Raceway Park has the CRS trucks, and it's the ride in a race car night. And as you recall, we had what's his face, Junior from over there, the promoter, and talked about that. Want to go for a ride around the racetrack? Head on over to Lorraine Raceway Park on Saturday night. The street stocks will be there, Chargers, Pure Stock, CRS trucks, and Champ Carts. Gates open at 2:30, racing at 6, general admission's $15. Flat Rock Speedway, of course, the Flat Rock Grand Prix, RJ Cornett running in the 350 Outlaw Super Modified Series. Street stocks also in action, factory stocks, and Great Lakes Legends. Gates open at 4:30, racing at 7, general admission's $20 at Flat Rock. Angola Motor Speedway over in Indiana. It's the Fab 4 show with late models, modified street stocks, and front wheel drives. Gates open at 3, racing at 7. $15 general admission there. Sandusky Speedway, CRS trucks, Outlaw. Wait, no, there's nothing going on this weekend at Sandusky Speedway. I'm not sure why I still had that on there.
Let's see.
Yeah, that was because I believe the facility's being rented out this weekend. Yeah. Fremont Speedway, Vision Quest Construction Equipment Hall of Fame induction night. That's AFCS 410 sprint show, the 305 sprints, and dirt trucks. You got your truck back together to run this weekend?
It'll be back together by Saturday. Actually, be back together tomorrow.
All right. Gates open at 4, racing at 7. General admission $20. Oakshade Raceway. Full show there with late models, DCR Graphic Sportsman, Dominator Super Stocks and Compacts. Gates at 4, racing at 7:30. And general admission $15. And again, Butler Motor Speedway, the Mace Thomas Classic with the High Limit Racing Series 410 sprints. Street stocks also in action. Gates open at 4, racing at 7:30. General admission $40 there for that big event. And then looking ahead to next week, things getting going at Eldora Speedway. The Dirt Late Model Dream Weekend is not this weekend, but the following weekend, but Wednesday night.
But it starts midweek.
Wednesday night is not affiliated with the Dirt Late Model Dream, but a lot of the guys that will be competing in it will be running in the Flow Racing Night in America event. It's a standalone event on Wednesday night for the late models. Gates open at 2, racing at 7. General admission is $30 for that. And then looking ahead to Thursday, that's when the Dirt Late Model Dream weekend begins. I believe they're splitting them into 2 groups, Thursday and Friday. So Thursday night gets things going. Double features both nights, preliminary nights. Gates open at 2, racing at 8. General admission $35 there for Thursday for the start of the Dirt Late Model Dream weekend. Other series action, the Kubota High Limit Racing Series also will be in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, for Lawrenceburg Speedway there. That's tomorrow night. And then looking ahead to Tuesday, June 4th, they'll be at Davenport Speedway in Davenport, Iowa. World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series. They'll be running the Jim J.B. Boyd Memorial this Friday and Saturday at Beaver Dam Raceway in Wisconsin. Truck Series, NASCAR Truck Series, that is Toyota 200, is on Saturday at Worldwide Technology Raceway. That'll be at 1:30 on Fox. That was the track that just got hit by a tornado a few weeks ago. I think it was the drag strip that got the most damage, though.
Yes.
Xfinity Series action this weekend. The Pacific Office Automation 147 on Saturday, June 1st at Portland International Raceway. They'll be on the road course there. That'll start at 4:30 on FS1. The NTT IndyCar Series back in action this weekend for the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix in downtown Detroit. That'll be Sunday starting at noon on USA Network. And the Cup Series will be running the Enjoy Illinois 300 on Sunday at Worldwide Technology Raceway. That race starts at 3:30 on FS1. And how does our weekend weather pit stop look like for
Scott? Tomorrow,
stuff?
Friday looks just wonderful. Everything should go on as scheduled. I saw the storms that started early this week in Texas, and I thought, man, those could make their way here. But then the weather maps started showing them running south of this area, and the weather models have changed, and it looks like Saturday, especially Saturday afternoon into Saturday night, could be wet, even into Sunday morning. So before you head to the races, check the Facebook.
We're going to have to give you a nickname.
Huh? What?
Like Blizzard Bill Spencer, Rainy Ron Miller.
Rainy Ron. I'm sorry, man. They've just been dealing us a rotten hand this year.
Rainy Ron Miller. I'm writing this down.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Your official.
Don't blame me.
Your official weekend weather pit stop with Rainy Ron Miller.
I'm not causing it.
Okay, that's about it for this edition of the Hammer Down Race Report. But before we go, we got a draw for that winner of the
DCR.
Yes. I got to really push this button again.
You happened to think of that before we had to remind you.
Yes. If you haven't put in hashtag DCR,
you've got about 10 seconds.
You got about 10 seconds to do so. Again, only enter, though, if you really want to have a custom design vehicle, racing car, late model or modified, in the new Hammer Down Racing computer game that's coming out later this year. $20 value. If you don't win, you can always get one. You pay $20. DCR Graphics is putting those together. So we are going to draw for that winner tonight who will get it for free. So let's do this. Looks like we got about, look at that.
Oh,
We went
right
from
the last
19 to
second.
20. Right before we draw. One last, I want to see who was it? Who's our last person getting in here? It was Big D's Pizza. All right, here we go. Wait, does that mean Dean Henry plays video games?
I'm thinking it does.
Steve Schloss.
Steve Schloss.
Schloss.
Yep.
Congratulations, Steve. You are the winner of the Hammer Down Racing computer game, late model or modified car design. So whichever you prefer, if you want a dirt late model or a dirt modified.
And don't make it like that silly 28 car. Or the 15. He's good friends with the Schroyer clan.
Oh, I ran into Roddy on Saturday.
Did
Talked
you?
to him a little bit, yeah. I didn't realize the 28 car had been shipped to Australia.
Oh, yeah.
And he wasn't sure if Alan was coming this summer.
Alan happened to cut a couple of his toes off.
What?
He was unhooking his camper from his truck, and somehow his foot got caught under, I think, the tongue jack, and he lost the first toe next to his big toe and damaged the other one. Spent a couple days in the crash house, laying in bed with a boot on, and whining about the high cost of business class flying to the United States.
That's what the only part that Roddy was talking about on Saturday.
I'm not sure Roddy knew about
or Friday.
that.
No, it was Saturday. Yeah, that was.
I'm not sure Roddy knew about that.
It was like 19,000 because he only flies first class or something.
Yeah.
It was like $19,000.
I told him to suck it up and fly with the cargo.
And if he does come, he said he was going to get another car and probably put Roddy in it.
Yeah.
So we may see him. So I hope he does come.
I do too.
And we see
it's
Roddy
a
in
good
car.
time.
Yeah.
And
are you going to have your donuts that
those are my donuts. That's
I know. I was hoping you'd open it up and
that's my compensation for this morning. You want one? I'll let you go shopping.
Nope. I don't
you
want
can
one
go
now.
shopping.
Nope.
I'll be fine.
Nope.
Actually, there's a couple in there for Scott.
Thanks for listening, folks.
Thanks to associate producer Dave Kimmer and contributors John Young, Matt Swander, Bob Stazak. Make sure to like us on Facebook. If you already have, thank you. Follow us on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at Hammer Report. That's where you can find us. Follow us on YouTube, and you can listen to us on your favorite podcasting platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Check us out at hammerdownracerreport.com. There's actually a store there. You can get T-shirts. I think that's still there. You can listen to the show there. And, of course, the Hammer Down Army's there. You can check out all the drivers in the Hammer Down Army.
Absolutely.
and find out what it's all
and
about.
James, if you did tune in, I've got the measurements for your project right here.
Okay, then.
New listener.
Thanks to our sponsors, DCR Graphics, Dominator Race Products at Oakshade Raceway, Ron Miller Race Cars, Freeze Frame Photos, Dipman Motorsports, Magic Moment Entertainment, Victory Fuel, and thanks to our guests this week, the Ryans.
Yeah.
Ryan Markham, Ryan Missler, John Young also showing up unexpectedly. And never did get a response back from Russ. He must be working in the shop or something tonight. So next week.
One of our listeners said he was very busy.
Was he? All right. No
That
worries.
was the
on
scale
that.
lady.
The scale. Oh, okay. The one that has all the food?
That's the one.
I like the scale lady.
Yes.
Is that what we're calling her now?
Thank you, Cheryl.
Yes. We'll be back next Thursday, 7 o'clock, probably with a shorter show.
We don't even know yet, do we?
No, because I like to wait till the weekend's over and see like who won.
Yeah, who would?
We'll figure it out
was
Sunday
really
or Monday.
cool.
Yeah. And who's not racing at Eldora on Thursday night that we can actually talk to.
That's it.
There's a lot of logistics that goes on into booking our guests here. It's crazy. So thanks for everybody tuning in tonight. We'll see you again next Thursday night. Get out and support your local tracks. Good night.
Good night, all.
You have been listening to the Hammer Down Racing Report, available on demand on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting platform.